Welcome back to another video. In this one today we're going to be discussing how far can Naoya Inoue move up in weight before it's just too much for him to handle. And it sounds funny saying that about Inoue because he's such a beast, but ultimately weight is always going to catch up with somebody. I know we have the Manny Pacquiao outlier out there, and he moved all the way up the weights. I think 154. He ended up being a world champion in the end when he beat Antonio Margarito. But Pacquiao probably is one of a kind. For me, Inoue doesn't have that much more to go before he's just fighting at a weight that's just too much for him to be carrying and handling. So we'll discuss the featherweight champions. Probably his next move after he fights Sam Goodman. I think he'll do that in September. There are rumours that Inoue is going to be accepting a deal from Turki Al-Sheikh. So maybe he'll get that one done on the Wembley card, and then he can move on to a featherweight bout towards the end of the year or early next year. Looks to be that he's going to be on for a career high payday that way, so good luck to him. I hope he gets that done. But yeah, moving on from the Goodman fight, let's be fair, I think he'll probably move up to featherweight. For me personally, I'd like that to be his last move up in weight. There are some good champions there, but there are also a lot of beatable champions for Inoue, in my opinion. His power clearly moves and transfers up through the weights. That's what's keeping him and winning him all these fights. When you're as accurate and powerful and as good defensively as Inoue is, you're going to be okay in a lot of weight classes. And potentially we'll look at 130 pounds. But for me, I wouldn't like to see him in that weight class. I think 126 is probably enough. But at the end of the day, money talks as well. I'm sure he'll have lots of tempting offers on the table to move up further weight classes. So let's, for argument's sake, say he gets through Goodman in September time. You're looking at probably the winner of Rayford against Nick Ball. You've got Vargas as well. Obviously, Ball just fought and probably beat. Who's there? For me, the most entertaining fight would probably be against Luis Alberto Lopez. He is an absolute banger. You're going to have a shootout essentially in that fight, in my opinion, and that would be great. Obviously, the belts are broken in that division at the moment, so if he wants to be undisputed, which he seems to in every other weight class, and good luck to him, he's probably going to have to go through quite a few fights for that, and he is 31. We know at the lower weights as well, careers aren't as long and drawn out as up at heavyweight or cruiserweight, for example. So be interesting to see how many years at the peak of his powers he has left. He still looks in his peak right now, obviously. But as you move up these weight classes, he's dropped by Luis Neri the other day. Fairness, came back and was absolutely unbelievable. But these guys at 126 and 130 hit a lot harder than Luis Neri. At some point, maybe you will run into a punch that you cannot get back up from. And the only thing that will beat Inoue, in my opinion, is weight. Anyone in and around his weight. You have to remember this guy won a belt at light flyweight, 108 pounds, and you're talking about him moving up to 126 and 130. Up at the bigger weights, that weight doesn't make as much of a difference. But as we know, with the smaller weights, even 122 to 126. Super bantamweight to featherweight, that £4 can make a huge amount of difference. Carl Frampton was very open about that when he made that move. Looking at 130 pounds, you've got Lamont Roach Jr., Foster, Joe Cordina, Navarrete. Those guys. There's some big punchers in amongst them as well. And then there's talk about, Tank Davis versus Inoue at 130 pounds. Tank isn't going to cut to 130 pounds. He's not going to do that. And I don't really see Inoue moving up to 130 pounds, even if he cleans out 126, to be honest with you. I think, that should really be it for him. But those guys, they're big, strong guys at 130 pounds, a lot stronger than, super bantamweights, for example. So for me, I'd like to see him move up to 126 after the Goodman fight. I'd probably finish his career at featherweight. He could potentially go after all the belts. That's at this point in time 4 fights. He's not going to do any tune-ups. He's not going to go into any non-title fights, he will go straight away into the fire. That's what Inoue does. That's why we love him so much. That's why we enjoy watching him so much. He is the most exciting guy in boxing for me right now. Every single one of his fights is amazing. But for me, the only thing that will get him and will beat him and will stop him is if he moves up too far in weight. Let's cool down on the Tank Davis talk. Let's cool down on 130 pounds right now. Let's see what the next move is after he defends, probably in September. But I'd like to see 126. I'm happy with that. And let's see if he can unify featherweight and probably right off into the sunset. After that, if you're talking 2, 3, 4 fights, whatever it takes him at that stage to do that, and they're going to be grueling fights. The likes of Ray Ford, Nick Ball, Luis Alberto Lopez. They're going to be grueling fights. So yeah, for me, 126 for Inoue. But please do let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you.